Hey guys, welcome to this new video. In today's video, we're gonna talk about very sensitive subject. What can you do if you have to stop, if you have to exit, or if you have to sell a business in Vietnam? So I know, and this will happen to many entrepreneurs in their entrepreneurship journey. Sometimes they have to face it and they just have to stop their current business, and it's always not a very good time when they have to go through that key decision and defining moments that they have to close or exit their company. So I hope through this video you will get some insights, some perspective that you can see, and solutions that you can consider. If you are having this struggling time, then maybe you can find a win-win solution that can be beneficial for you and for other people. So first, let's talk a little bit. Usually your business may struggle and then you may have to leave Vietnam, right? So it's going to be very hard on your personal aspects. Maybe you have some investment here, maybe you have your family, and I know you may go through a tough time. It's hard sometimes to find the product market fit here. When we come to this part of the world with our foreign mindset, it's hard to find a business model that fits with the local people, or just to scale it and to really have something that is, cost efficient with good margin and then be able to scale. Is not easy in foreign countries, so it's not easy in emerging countries such as Vietnam. And sometimes it's also a financial burden, right? Maybe you work a lot, maybe you have huge costs, and it's again hard to really find the product market fit and make it scale. So in the end of the day, maybe it's better for you to find an employed solution somewhere. So usually, what's the different ways you can consider? Either you have to stop your company, either you can let your company die, but there may be some involvement into your personal situation here in Vietnam, because sometimes you get a TRC, right, a temporary residency card. So what happens if your company run out of cash? What happens for your personal situation here? We're going to go through that. And you have also alternatives that you can consider, such as selling your company or finding partners to inject money, capital, and maybe find a win-win deal in that direction. So let's go first through the dissolution, which is maybe the common way people do, or at least the traditional way, but maybe it's not the right solution to do for many people. So it's a process that we take from 6 months to 1 year, so be ready that it's going to be a long journey to close your company, even more complicated than to open your company. It's better that you can rely on service and on people that can help you through this journey, either lawyers or either consulting firms that have helped other companies through this journey. Don't hesitate, check in the description if this is something that you want to learn more. We have some of those services for you below. Usually because it's working with authorities, it takes a lot of time, so maybe someone finding a trustworthy partner to go through this journey with you is better. Then what you will go through usually, you have to go first with the tax department, and it's going to be the ERC side of your company. Then you're going to have to work with the Department of Investment, and this is more for the IRC that usually you have for foreign-owned company. And finally, you can go and get your ERC dissolution. So very fast in the tax department, usually you have to fill tax finalization and work with the tax department. It takes from 2 to 4 months. I'm going to go very fast on those points so you have the big picture about how things work. You have first to choose the end date to end the company operation. Then you have to make the financial reports at the operation end date. Then you have to submit the document and announcements to tax department to invite them to your company for tax checking. Then you have to pay the due tax that they finally find, and then that you may have missed. Sometimes it's not your fault, it's not the fault of the accountant, it's rule that changed. And finally, you will have and you will receive the tax announcement from the department and the tax closing completion. Then after going through this step, you will have to work with the Department of Investment to fill your dissolution of investment project, it takes from 1 to 2 months. Usually you have the decision of the dissolution first, then you have to report the status of the investment project, all the financial obligation to the government until the end of the termination of your project, and finally you will have this dissolution announcement. The last part is to work with the Department of Planning and Investment. Here it will be filling the ERC for the dissolution. You will have to register for the dissolution, to report the assets under liquidation, to have and to provide the list of all your creditors, to finally list also your employees, to close all your bank accounts, and finally to receive the dissolution and the announcement from the Department of Investment. And here you finally have and can announce the dissolution of your company. Like, good job, it's over. So you see that it's a long journey, and sometimes, spending 6 months to 1 year is not something that you want to have and you want to face, because probably you have some, again, financial burden, you have some personal issues to handle on the side. So I know it's going to be very tough. That's why sometimes you have other ways that you can consider and that are very common here in Vietnam. It's you can let your company die. And here you can do that even for foreign owned company if your company has no debt. So you have to be sure on the individual aspects for companies as well, but mostly for all the different authorities like the Department of Tax, etc., that you pay all the due tax. Then you have to be sure that you have no problem with your current employees, that everything has been done and the ending their contract has been done properly. Then if you do that, you can somehow let your company die, and then as a foreign investor, you won't be put in the blacklist. The blacklist is usually something that some foreigners can face if they go and if they break the law, and apparently if you let a company die like this, you can check and do your due diligence with different lawyers. I did mine, so that's why I share you that. If you go through that journey, it should be all right for yourself, but again, check all the information that I shared with you today. Now let's go through the alternative and things that you may have in mind and that you should actually have in mind, because maybe for me, with my business perspective, is something that you should consider if you want to close or exit or just sell your current company. Then the question that you have to ask yourself is, can the company be useful for someone? Okay, so let's say you are in the F&B industry. Like, can you find someone around yourself? It can be a partner or it can be a competitor that you can approach and that you can consider to sell your company to. Then you have to also think about is the past and is the history of your company relevant? And if that's are things that may be possible, finding partners to buy, etc., then you should consider to wait a little bit. And then you have a process in your company that you can suspend temporarily your company. So it's a process that you can go through your current accountant. You should ask him more information about that if you want to consider this solution. But basically you can tell to the tax authorities, for 6 months, don't ask me anything, and we suspend the tax code. This is something that you can consider, and it can help you to just let your company somehow sleeping while focusing on something else. Either you find an employed position, or whether you try another kind of business on the side, but you keep that company somehow shut down for a while. Then you can also consider to maintain your company. So here, for instance, you're going to keep the tax code and you're going to keep your accountant and keep filling every 3 months, for instance, all the different tax filling. It can be for the revenue, it can be for the VAT, for instance. But as well, if you have some employees, you have to pay their personal income tax on their behalf, for instance. Just work with your accountant to maintain at a minimum level your current company. Then you can also consider to transfer and to sell this company. That's why from the beginning I was telling you, like, is your company or can your company be useful for someone? And actually, over the last year, I personally connected some people who were selling companies to buyers. And for instance, we got recently someone who want to come to Vietnam. And he has an entrepreneurship project, right? So that person come with, some savings on the side, and then he's seeing the rebound of Vietnamese economy, especially in the tourism industry. So that person is okay, to buy a company that already have some history, already have, some background, etc. The company is very clean on the tax perspective, so we can just very fast put that foreigner as a director of the company, having the foreigner coming to Vietnam within a couple of months, and then that foreigner enter Vietnam, etc. And then that foreigner can start very fast his entrepreneurship journey with a company that has been already existing before and have some, history regarding to all the taxes and different administration in Vietnam. So if right now you are considering stopping your company, you can also consider to find the right person whose you can sell that company. There are still few things that you have to have in mind is that if you are doing that, you will be responsible, right? If you buy a company that before owe money to the tax department, you will in the end owe money to those tax departments. So I guess this is something you don't want to have to face just while starting your entrepreneurship journey here. So you have to work with a lawyer, an accountant, and sometimes those lawyers and accountants have the network of companies that are on sale, and they may tell you that, okay, we have this customer, this customer, this customer, they are closing. So there is this, like valuation of company, and you can just enter the market by buying those companies, but you get as well the responsibility. So check and do your due diligence. Then those companies may have debt, as I mentioned. They may own taxes to the administration. So you have to be sure that company is clean in terms of debt. And finally, that companies may have former activities. So for instance, that company may already got granted before some specific business license. And this is the right angle to see as well how you can enter and acquire a company that have already some specific business sector or license, because it may take a lot of time, for instance, in education, in different kind of sectors in Vietnam. It may require you a few months to get some time specific license. So if you can buy a company that already got those business licenses, you can go, save time, take a shortcut, and directly jump into the real business story as an entrepreneur. So this is common things that you may have in mind, and you should consider if you right now you are facing challenges, or if also you just want to come to Vietnam to explore business opportunities. Remember that you can create your own company, but you can also look for businesses that are on sales. And this is a way you can also approach those different companies that are on sale, and because maybe the person is running out of cash, or maybe this person has some personal issues to solve, and finally you can directly jump into those different business sectors. So few notes about this. I didn't have actually to dissolve my company in Vietnam. This is just all the decisions that come from different partners and lawyers I'm working with. So I've been through this journey also of helping and being somehow a middleman, connecting foreigners directly to local companies here that are on sale, or just connecting, a third party here to a third party here and helping them to do business together. So this is also the journey I've been through with different partners to help foreigners acquiring, selling, or entering into specific business in Vietnam, as I say, in helping investors to purchase businesses. And I really put a huge focus on this. You have a lot of pros and cons into the different solutions that I mentioned, but if you go to the direction of buying an existing business, doing your due diligence is very important. Benchmark the different solutions that you are having. Benchmark as well the different partners, because some lawyers may tell you things, and finally you will see that they didn't do very well their due diligence themselves. So compare different options, and then you can have more cards into your hands and finally choose what you can do with that. And quick word here about like the background. You may have heard a lot of rooster in my back. I'm actually here in the countryside in south of Vietnam, and this family business, they've been existing for a while selling orchid, and they have been through a difficult time during the lockdown that we had, of course, because they had a lot of flowers, but no one wanted to buy their flowers because all the flower shop got closed. So actually it's a very interesting way to do this video here with this background, because this business struggle, and actually apparently now everything is getting back to normal. They are selling a lot to different shops. So for them, they don't have to close their business, hopefully, and hopefully in the next upcoming years, they can grow this garden field and expand their business here in Vietnam. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't hesitate to tell me your thoughts below and leave me a comment about what do you think about this opportunity for buying existing business. Maybe you are also right now facing struggles and you have to sell your business, so we can get in touch with each other. We can discuss a little bit about your business, what's your plan on the personal and on the business angle, and then maybe see what's the best solution you have in your hand. If you enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I'ma get it right, dead on sight like